I want to thank you for your time and your participation. I want to, thank you for your time and your participation, for being part of this interesting topic that we are going to cover today. So, what is successful completion? Part 1. We want to cover this topic to accomplish this goal, which is to remain fostering the motivation towards successfully completing your program by learning and implementing workable interventions based on the recommendations and guidelines of research and the California Penal Code. Though today we are just covering Sunkin's guidelines and recommendations, Sunkin 2013, and these are our objectives. You will learn what it means to accomplish your program along with your weekly goals you proposed. Obviously, just for review, it's always great, significant, powerful to set weekly goals. Something that we have discussed before in groups, but setting weekly goals is very helpful to continue accomplishing what we want. So, and number 2, you will read, learn, and understand the guidelines and recommendations of Sunkin and the California Penal Code on completing your program successfully. I'm sorry. Now, once again, we are only covering Sunkin's guidelines in this presentation. And number 3, you will also be able to provide some examples on each recommendation based on your understanding and genuine application of what you have already implemented. Something about solution focused. That is something that you had been doing before that has helped you to continue doing well. It's about focusing on solutions. It's about looking forward for the present and the future. It's about the 3 B's, which is I believe in myself, I believe on what I want, I believe in my vision and mission to accomplish my goals. Obviously based on how you want to continue doing well. Based on your circumstance, based on your personal experience, but obviously and clearly, the main goal and objective is to continue moving forward, to continue doing well. And as I always say, as long as your situation doesn't get worse, then you are going in the right direction. But we always want to look forward to continue doing much better day by day. Okay, so let's see. So here we have to improve personal balance and a deep desire to remain healing. So this is just a review about the sacred medicine wheel. One balance in the East is a spiritual balance, helps to reconnect with oneself through meditation, reflection, and contemplation. I think this is very powerful. So the East, according to our traditional teachings, it's always the direction of a spiritual balance. And a spiritual balance is that, reconnecting with who I am within my heart, within my mind, within my spirit, within who I am within myself. A spiritual balance it's a powerful support, for meditation, for reflection. Personally speaking, I do the 4 directions every single day, especially in the morning, to honor, the 4 directions, such as a spiritual balance, which represents the moment, for yourself, the moment of being calm, being quiet, the moment to be thankful and to be, grateful. Being thankful for our current experience, our current life experience. Being thankful to continue doing well. A spiritual balance is that moment in which it's about you, it's about your heart, it's about your mind, it's about your spirit, it's about you being present. And just allowing yourself to be present, to be in the moment, breathing in, and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Obviously, I play the drum. Drumming is a very powerful tool to improve self-regulation. Is that synchronization with our neurotransmitters, our neurological system, our mind, our body, our heart, our spirit, you name it, and just being present. It doesn't hurt just to be present, to allow that part of yourself to process questions, to answer questions, to be peaceful, to be calm, right? Excellent. Now, emotional balance is the application of regulating oneself by processing emotions well. I mean, not because you get angry, it doesn't mean you are going to start screaming, yelling, slamming doors. No. Emotional regulation helps to identify and connect with all your feelings, your emotions. Allow those feelings to come to you. And obviously, to regulate them, to manage them in a healthy, appropriate way. So if anger is increasing in a bad way, what do? We apply calming techniques, right? We do breathing exercises. Breathe in. And breathe out. We do positive thinking. We do positive self-talk. We take a walk. We do something that is going to help us to stay calm, to self-regulate, and to manage those feelings in the best possible way. See, no need to start screaming, yelling, throwing things, slamming doors. No, 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 no. That won't be helpful. Okay? It's understandable that people get angry, but it's not understandable or acceptable for people to start, name calling and slamming doors and doing terrible things, right? Otherwise, people get in trouble. People get in trouble. Okay, now we have physical balance helps to eliminate alcohol and drug issues and to improve being healthy. Physical balance always reminds us to be healthy, to be stable, to eat as healthy as possible, to exercise, at least, take a walk, take walks, drink plenty of water, see your medical doctor or physician at least once a year. And obviously, that's to make sure that we are balanced physically. And if there is something that is not balanced physically, then doctor is going to recommend guidelines to stay healthy and to make sure that that condition doesn't continue developing to something worse. In regard to alcohol, a lot of people drink alcohol, okay? Alcohol is a chemical that helps people to cope with the stress, tiredness. But on the other hand, alcohol is a serious addiction. It's a very strong addiction. Some people, become dependent on alcohol. They see the need to drink every single day. And the more they drink, the more they want to keep drinking. Not only the same amount, but they need to increase the amount of alcohol in order to feel the same or higher effects of alcohol. So, my recommendation, based on our sacred medicine wheel, is to start drinking less until you stop drinking. It's way much better. I mean, some people may say, well, I've been drinking for so many years and I feel okay, or I just saw my doctor for a physical evaluation and he or she said that I'm doing well. Well, right now, but if people keep drinking the same amount or more, sooner or later they may start having some issues with their liver or other conditions. Why wait to have those serious conditions? Obviously, when someone starts decreasing alcohol and then he or she stops drinking, then he or she will need to have a plan B. Remember that plan A was drinking every day. So now if you want to stop drinking, what will be your plan B? So how are you going to implement or replace the behavior or habit of drinking alcohol for something else? So that's a very good question. So what would be good? I don't know. People become skillful on doing things with their hands. They develop other habits. They start exercises. they join support groups, something, right? Drugs obviously is something very bad. So people who are using, drugs is difficult, very difficult for people just to stop using. So, but same thing, more than a challenge is a need to replace the addiction for something else. Some people may need professional help. Some people may need extra support to stop drinking or using. But on the other hand, no one is going to stop, no one is going to decrease until they decide, until they become ready to say, enough is enough. I need to refocus on myself, my health, my spiritual, emotional, physical, mental balance. So physical balance also has to do with always creating a safe space for you and your family. A safe space within your relationship with your husband, with your wife, with your children, with your loved ones. Always creating a safe space, violence-free environment. So I think that's ideal. That's a very good plan. Being respectful, being loving, being helpful, violence-free. And creating always a space for our children to support their process of physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, academic, social, moral, cultural development, so many things. Always providing for our children's needs. What are those basic needs? Food, shelter, education, medical attention. So that's the expectation, right? Now, here we had mental balance is the core and a stable outcome of the other balances, strengthening oneself. So, if we do spiritual balance, meditation, reflection, if we continue developing and improving emotional balance, which is self-regulation, emotional regulation, and then, taking care of ourselves physically and always creating a safe space for our families and ourselves, the mental balance is going to be very strong, which is going to, always lead us into personal balance and healing, which is the center of the medicine wheel, right? The center of the medicine wheel, personal balance and healing. Now, so here we have Mita Kuye Oyasin, which means we are all related, or all my relations. As you can see, this is a very powerful teaching from Lakota, traditional, ancestral teaching. Is the central thing. Mita Kuye Oyasin. All my relations, we are all related to the sun, to the earth, to the water, to the wind, related to our infants, children, teenagers, to adults, to the elders, related to everything that is. If we really understand this concept of Mita Kuye Oyasin, powerful teaching, we will be taking care of everything around us. Being loving, being caring, being sincere, honest. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's continue. We learn and apply workable ways to cope with oneself. Let's see. Connecting with yourself is important to to explore and know more about your needs, such as spiritual, emotional, physical, mental needs. Coping skills are also helpful, such as the following: calming techniques, positive thinking, positive self-talk, positive self-imagery. Once again, calming techniques always help us to stay calm, such as breathing in and breathing out. And along with, calming techniques, we use positive thinking. Instead of thinking negative, we allow ourselves, encourage ourselves to continue thinking more positive about ourselves, more positive about, our perceptions, our way of seeing things, our way of understanding things. The positive self-talk, has to do with reminding yourself that you can do it, that you can handle situations, such as, I know I can do it, I'm doing great, I'm doing my best, okay, I'm not afraid, and if I'm afraid it's normal, but I'll keep, going and doing my best. Positive thinking, positive self-talk. Positive self-talk is very powerful. You tell yourself, you remind yourself that everything is going to be way much better. But we want to make sure that we do it with confidence. People may say, you know what, this thing doesn't work. I'm the same or even worse. Well, if they say they are the same, then that's great. If they say they are worse, then that's not great, right? So it's probably the old habits, the way of being, the way of thinking, the way of doing things from the past is still kind of, pulling that person to not being able to think more positive of themselves, or to start developing more positive self-talk. Another powerful one is, positive self-imagery. That is, that we want to see ourselves that we are present in the moment. Even though we have difficulties, we have struggles, though we also want to visualize ourselves looking forward, visualizing ourselves doing greater, improving, day by day, step by step. So thoughts become things. The more I think more positive about myself, about my future, the more likely, that's something that I really wish or I really want will become present within myself. Okay, so let's continue. Indicators of progress: identifying and expressing your feelings appropriately. So let's see, what does it mean for me to complete my program? That's the question. So what does it mean for me to complete my program successfully? Either domestic violence, anger management, parenting, you name it. So client takes real and practice timeouts on a weekly basis. So the purpose of timeout is always to create a safe space toward living a life free of violence. To create that safe space for my partner, for my loved ones, for my children. So the goal of taking a timeout is to prevent and to start violence, along with exploring, learning, and applying workable solutions. So this is a manifestation toward creating a safe space for you and your loved ones, your wife, your husband, your children. So timeout is the best method a program teaches and provides to individuals who had been involved in issues of violence toward their partners, toward their children. You know, there is child physical abuse, child neglect, domestic violence. Of course, there are other helpful and effective alternatives such as assertive communication, positive communication, attentive listening to our partners, to our children, positive communication with our partners, with our children, and conflict resolution skills. I mean, these are very good, workable interventions. Positive communication, attentive listening, and conflict resolution skills. So conflict resolution has to do with focusing on solutions, right? Conflict resolution is a powerful, necessary skill we all need, because conflict is always there. It doesn't mean that conflict is bad. Conflict helps us to continue learning and to continue growing. So we may have personal conflicts. We may see work-related conflicts. We may experience relationship conflicts. You name it. So the main thing right here is to focus on solutions. Not to avoid the conflicts. Not to become passive, like whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't really care. If that's what you want, that's fine with me. I don't want to fight, or I don't want any issues. No. That's not good. That would be passive behavior. I mean, if we become aggressive, which is either my way or the highway, then that would be aggressive behavior. That won't help us either. So we want to be assertive. We want to do the win-win solution. Win-win solution. So I win, you win, we all win together. All my relations. Mita, kuye, oyasin. Or as our Maya teaching says, in La Cage, I am, you other you. I am, you other you, you are my other me, right? Anything you do to me, you do it to yourself. Anything I do to you, I do it to myself. In La Cage, all my relations, Mita, Kuye, Oyasi. La Cora teaching. Oh my goodness, but it's very difficult for some people. Very difficult. But, once we are participating in this program, it's an opportunity to allow this experience to be part of our lives and continue learning from ourselves, continue learning from others, and so forth. So let's continue. But timeout is a necessary requirement to learn and implement, along with other coping skills, to remedy, to solve relationship issues, and to continue preventing the violence, stop the violence, and to continue preventing and stop child abuse, and to continue preventing and stop child neglect, right? So, this is just part of the indicators of successful completion. So, doing this program and continue learning how to implement timeouts is going to help to prevent and stop the violence, right? Excellent. Let's breathe in. And breathe out. So now here we have client completes anger journal on a weekly basis. It's a good idea. It's a good idea always to have a journal, right? Some people are not used to writing. They may not be able to read, they may not write, they may not like it, but it's very simple stuff, right? Client completes anger journal on a weekly basis. Writing down your thoughts and feelings of anger is helpful to process anger in a healthy way instead of depressing or suppressing anger. I mean, not only anger, but other feelings, such as sadness. We may say to someone or ask, hey, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? You look kind of down. You look kind of sad. What's up? What's going on, right? And the other person may say, no, I'm okay. I'm just kind of thinking something. But maybe that person has been sad for, some days. Maybe that person has been depressed. We never know, right? So being sad and being depressed, there is a significant difference. But, depression doesn't just suddenly occurs. Well, for some people, it does, okay? And that's, what clinicians in psychology call clinical depression. Some people suddenly become depressed, suddenly. And that's what, experts call clinical depression. But some people may start developing feelings of sadness, along with loneliness, lack of motivation, difficulties focusing, concentrating, difficulties sleeping. And then, because they don't talk about how they feel, that sadness may become into depression. And that's when we have a problem, Houston. Houston, we have a problem. Remember that movie? Well, I'm just using the saying, right? Houston, we have a problem. So, and same thing with anger. People may feel frustrated. People may feel tired, upset, disappointed for little things. But as they allow those little things to continue accumulating, continue escalating, suddenly those feelings of being disturbed, being upset, being disappointed, being kind of angry may become an anger problem. So, and that's when we have a problem, right? It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be scared. But it's not okay to start throwing things, slamming doors, name calling, and or being violent to other people when, someone becomes angry. No. That becomes a serious problem. It's okay to be angry, but then it's okay to apply calming techniques that will help the individual to manage those feelings of anger in the right way, such as taking a time out, breathing exercises, positive thinking, positive self-talk, doing some kind of, exercise. So the goal of the anger journal is to increase personal awareness toward identifying red flags of anger and manage it in a healthy way. So the method encourages you to measure the intensity of anger and its triggers, according to Sunkin. Exploring and choosing to apply alternatives to cope with a stressful situation is the ideal plan. Anger cues are relevant on body sensations, cognitions, and behaviors, such as what happens when before people become very angry, what happens in their bodies. Some people become, experience headaches, dizziness, a lot of stress on their shoulders. Cognition, they may not have a clear mind. They may start thinking negatively about situations. They may start kind of taking everything personally. And obviously the behavior, which is the outcome of a lot of negative thinking and due to not being able to listen to the body sensations of early signs of anger, people just start becoming very angry and violent. So the anger journal, the weekly anger journal, helps to put those feelings into paper. I don't know, people may record themselves on their phones, and whenever they start kind of getting angry, it's okay to record themselves, right? And express how they feel. Then do the calming techniques, then listen to their recording back to see how they were, how they were sounding, how they were feeling, and then they may see they may see things differently. They may approach things in a more proper, safe way. Okay, so this is another indicator that we are making progress and that we are looking forward to complete the program successfully. Another one is the client is able to identify physical and behavioral signs of anger. So allowing yourself to be present and paying close attention to how unhealthy anger affects your body and behavior is helpful to improve your emotional regulation. That is, you learn and enhance self-control over unhealthy emotions. Emotional intelligence is self-regulation, which is the capacity to acknowledge your emotions, understand what your emotions are telling you, and realize how your emotions are affecting other people around you. So what happens right here? To develop the ability, the capacity to pay attention to your body when you start getting angry, right? Let's see, let me use an example. Let's say someone is experiencing symptoms of the flu or the cold. What would be the symptoms? I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor, but it's common sense to some degree because we have all experienced some kind of allergy, seasonal allergies, or the flu or the cold. What would be like sneezing? What else? Coughing, headaches, pain in your body, weakness, you name it. So So those are the signs or the symptoms when people start getting sick, and then people may take some medicine for the cough, drinking some tea, hot tea. Uh, some people may go and see the doctor for some kind of, medication for the flu or the cold or the allergies, and they get better, right? Some people just might stay home and take care of themselves for 2 or 3 days and then go back to work and continue doing well. Obviously, the best recommendation is to see a medical doctor, especially if the physical condition becomes kind of serious. So I'm just using this example for anger, right? So what would be some of the symptoms or the signs of, anger? So before you become very angry, before you become very angry and kind of losing your control over the unhealthy anger, what would be some physiological symptoms? Once again, people may feel a lot of tension in their body, shoulders, neck, in the back of their neck, upset stomach, dizziness, um, and so forth, right? A lot of stress, um, headaches, and the behavioral signs probably would be like raising tone of voice, uh, walking in a way that is kind of aggressive, pacing, but in an aggressive way, um, kind of throwing things or slamming things or kicking things, road rage, all those behavioral signs are kind of more serious, right? So therefore, it says Klein is able to identify physical signs of anger and behavioral signs of anger. So it's like pay attention, be present before this happens. So before this thing gets out of control, make sure that you do your calming techniques, right? You breathe in. And you breathe out. You take a walk. You take a time out. You start using positive thinking, positive self-talk to remind yourself, right, that you want to continue doing well. Okay, so let's continue. I think this is going to be the last one. We had more than 4, but I'm just going to cover 4 in this recording. So client demonstrates positive communication of anger as well as other feelings. Once again, client can identify and positive communicate other feelings. Some client demonstrates positive communication of anger as well as other feelings, right? So let's see, the continual necessity to learn and apply positive communication of feelings is always expected. Fall and Howard, 2017, page 184, help us understand that when interacting and communicating with others, we have the choice to communicate passively, assertively, or aggressively. Each mode of interaction has its own verbal and nonverbal behaviors, goals, feelings, impact on others, and outcomes. So now, let's say the human person is complicated in certain circumstances, right? Because we don't know sometimes how to deal with our own and our partner's conflicts. We behave in ways that we are not supposed to. In other words, we need to learn and practice appropriate conflict resolution skills to be successful in resolving conflicts. In this particular case, you did not know how to behave with your anger. I mean, the cause or the reason you are participating in this program. So whenever you become angry, it is because you decide to experience the feeling and emotion of anger. Once you experience anger, you behave either in an appropriate way or in an inappropriate way. Once again, being angry is not bad. Not being able to handle the early signs of anger and allowing that unhealthy anger to become aggressive and violent, then we need help. We need to stop, to prevent the violence and do something, right? It depends on the conflict resolution skills you have learned from your own personal experience, right? So today we are going to focus on the importance of assertiveness, on the importance of handling anger and conflict in the best possible way. At the same time, we are going to understand what passive and aggressive behaviors are. So you need to focus on what assertive behavior is, right? If you are already an assertive person, you have been successful. That is, if you know how to handle, anger and issues in the best and possible way, then you are going in the right path, right? So let's see right here. I wanted to read something to you. Okay, 52, which is very interesting. 52. Patience is a virtue. Okay, here you go. It says here, we probably also know people who are masters at managing their emotions. They don't get angry in stressful situations. Instead, they have the ability to look at a problem and calmly find a solution. They are excellent decision makers, and they know when to trust their intuition. Regardless of their strengths, however, they are usually willing to look at themselves honestly. They take criticism well, they get feedback well, and they know when to use it to improve their performance. So people like this have a higher degree of emotional intelligence. Remember we mentioned about emotional intelligence? They know themselves very well. And they are also able to sense the emotional needs of others. So as more and more people accept their emotional intelligence is just as important to professional success as technical ability, organizations are increasingly using it when they hire and promote people. For example, one large cosmetic company recently revised their hiring process for salespeople to choose candidates based on their emotional intelligence. The result. What was the result? People hired with the new system have sold on average 91,000 more than sell people selected under the old system. There has also been significantly lower staff turnover among the group chosen for their emotional intelligence. So what exactly is emotional intelligence? And what can you do to improve yourself, to improve yours? So once again, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize your emotions, understand what they are telling you, and realize how your emotions affect people around you. It also involves your perception of others. When you understand how they feel, this allows you to manage relationships more effectively. So people with high emotional intelligence are usually successful in most things they do. Why? Why is that? Because they are the ones that others want on their team. When people with high emotional intelligence send an email, it gets answers. It gets answered. When they need help, they get it. Because they make other feelings good, they go through life much more easily than people who are easily angered or upset. So, people who improve and learn how to apply emotional regulation, self-regulation, become more self-aware. They tend to know more who they are. Self-awareness, personal confidence, self-regulation. They learn how to regulate themselves. They learn how to calm down themselves before things become, very difficult to manage. They are individuals who manifest motivation and encouragement to other people. They also show empathy, right? Empathy has to do with being able to be understandable, understanding other people's situations and feelings. Social skills, they are able to implement social resolution skills, know how to communicate with other people in a way that is helpful. So this information comes from a book called Domestic Violence 52-Week Intervention Program by Dr. Sherry Steins. So okay. So this is an interesting source of information. So page 52 all the way to page 54. So once again, this is a very interesting and helpful source of information in regard to emotional intelligence, right? Now, let's see what is behavior, okay? So the way a person behaves or acts, conduct, manners, okay, is what the person does, right? It's what the person is doing. So passive behavior, when people are reluctant, unwilling, and therefore perhaps slow to act, to state their opinions, share feelings, or assume responsibility for their actions. That is passive behavior. They don't do much. They let the situation to, they let other people to take over, situations, which is not good, because then, people may take advantage of those individuals who are passive. Assertive behavior, the art of declaring our personal preferences and defending our personal rights while respecting the preferences and rights of others. So this is according to Verdever, 2004, page 288. So assertive behavior has to do with being able to learn when to talk, when to say what we need to say by using I statements. Let me give you an example. Let's say, Johnny, I want to let you know that I don't feel comfortable to talk to you right now. I'm still angry at what happened yesterday between you and me, and I prefer to discuss this matter later on today. I still feel angry. That's assertive communication. Passive communication or passive behavior would be just let Johnny talk to you in any way he wants. And you just listen and you go along with whatever he wants. This is just an example, okay? But you don't express your feelings. You don't express your thoughts. You don't express your opinion. That's not good, right? Because then people take advantage of you. But on the other hand, people may become aggressive behavior, when people lash out at the source of their discontent or unhappiness or dissatisfaction, with little regard for the situation or for the feelings or for the needs or for the rights of others, of those they are attacking. So this would be aggressive behavior. So that would be something different, such as Johnny would say to the other person, say, you know what do you want? I don't really care what you want. You make me angry. You are the one who is always, making all these things to me. Who do you think you are? You are the one who always, doing this and doing that, right? Then that would be the you statements. The you always, you never, you all the time. That would be aggressive communication. Okay, so far so good. Well, that would be another topic, but here I'm just kind of, reviewing this information, right? So therefore, the continual necessity to learn and apply positive communication of feelings is always expected. As these experts say, help us to understand that when interacting and communicating with others, we have a choice to communicate either in a passive way, aggressive way, or assertive way, right? Each mode of interaction, each mode of communication has its own verbal and nonverbal behaviors, goals, feelings, impact on others, and outcomes. Okay, so far so good. Breathe in. Out, right? Let's see right here. So next time, the next video that I'm going to make would be, client demonstrates ability to manage emotional stress effectively. Client has been violence-free for at least 6 months. Client can reduce emotional stress through positive self-talk. Client is able to teach peers behavioral skills and educational concepts and so forth. So that part is going to be for next time. So timeout is a healthy alternative along with workable solutions to prevent and stop primarily violence and its types of abuse, such as emotional, verbal, and physical abuse. It helps to identify the conflicts in unhealthy relationship conditions. You have the opportunity to explore workable solutions. In addition, it helps to create a safe space to identify your own conflicts and admit them. At the same time, it is an alternative to recognize your partner's problems and understand him or her. Timeout is about creating a safe environment for you and others toward exploring and applying workable solutions and improving a safe family environment, living a life free of violence. Okay, so let's continue. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation. Go in peace, violence free. So this is just part of, what does it mean to successfully complete your program. There is going to be part 2. But for now, I want to thank you for your time, for your participation. And so make sure that you complete the form that I'm going to send you through email on this topic, okay? So thank for your time. Go in peace, violence free, and always take care of yourself. Palabra.